Right, so now we're going to look at a question which, if it comes up, and it doesn't come up very often, is going to be right at the far end of your question paper, where you're going to be drawing graphs of quite complicated equations. With this question, they've worked out all the coordinates for you. You'll see a little bit later on, sometimes you have to work those out for yourself. But you need to remember that when plotting points on a graph, the x coordinate takes you across and the y coordinate takes you up. And the pairs that we've got here, when x is minus 3, y is 12. So when x is minus 3, y is 12, which is going to be there, put across. The next one you're going to plot is minus 2, 3. Now, you need to make sure you can get your head around what the axis is going to be. Now this is going up 0 to 4 there, so that would be 2 there, so it's going 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on. So 3 would be halfway again between 2 and 4. So minus 2, 3 is going to take you to there. Then we've got minus 1, minus 2. There's minus 1. Minus 2 is going to be there. So minus 1, minus 2 is that point there. 0, negative 3. Well, that one there we said was minus 2. So minus 3 is going to be halfway between there. And on 0, it's going to take us to there. 1 is 0, sorry, x is 1, y is 0. X is 1, y is 0, doesn't move. So that's going to cross there. X is 2, y is 7. X is 2, there is 6, there is 8. Halfway between will be 7 there. And x is 3, y is 18. Is going to take us 3, 16, 18 to 20 will be there. Now, what we then have to do is to draw a curve through those points. And what this curve is going to look like is going to be sort of U-shaped, like that, without the wobble in the middle where my page just slipped. Okay? Use a pencil, not a pen like I am, so that if you go wrong, you can rub it out. And usually when you're drawing a curve, the arc that you're going to draw, your wrist makes a natural pivot for. So for me, being left-handed, it's easier to turn my page upside down to draw this. And you're going to draw, it's not going to be a straight line, you're going to draw freehand through the points like that. Alright, so you don't use a ruler, you draw it freehand. It doesn't matter if you have a little wobble, so long as you get the general picture of what that curve is going to look like. So that is part A. On graph paper, draw the graph of y equals 2x squared plus x minus 3. For part B, it wants us to draw the line y equals 6. Well, y equals 6 is telling us that wherever we are on that graph, the y coordinate will be 6. So if the line went through that point there, for example, there the y coordinate is 4. So that's not going to help. There, or there, or there, the y coordinate is 8. The line y equals 6, well, there's 6 there, is a straight line that runs straight across the graph through the y coordinate, which is 6. So that's the line y equals 6. I'll write that on so the examiner knows that that's in the right place. And write down the x values of the points where your two graphs intersect. So my line and my curve cross there, and if I read that down, it's going to be minus 2.4. And also, and again, it's worth drawing these on your graph so the examiner can see that you are trying to read off the right place. That one there is going to be 1.8. So those are my two values where those cross. And the second one of those that I managed to find, with this one you've got a bit more work to do before you start plotting. Alright, this will be on a calculator paper, and it's telling you here that it's plotted some of the values for y equals x cubed, take 8, values of x from -2 to -4. But there's some that we've got to fill in. Now what I suggest you do, wherever there's an x in your rule, we're going to replace it with these numbers, but you put them in your rule inside brackets. If you think that your x looks like that, but if you turn those around, what you get is that. So wherever there's an x, you're going to use brackets. And what I'd also advise you to do is to choose first of all a value for x which they're telling you the answer for, so you know you're putting the correct thing into your calculator. So the first thing we're going to do then is, in our rule, replace the x with -2. So I'm going to open a bracket first of all, then I'm going to put in -2. Now -2 is this button here, okay? That's subtract 2. So -2 cubed, on your calculator you've got an x cubed button there. Take away 8. Okay, so that was the take away, because that's a takeaway. Press equals -16. I know that what I've done is correct. So now I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to put -1 into that bracket. So open the bracket, -1 cubed, take away 8 equals -9. Then I've got to do +3. So open bracket, 3 cubed, take away 8 equals 19. Alright, so there's 2 marks for that. We're right at the hardest part of the paper, and so long as you remember on your calculator, oh, the x means turn it the other way, open brackets, and type it in. Use a pair that you know the answer for to make sure that you're right. Now it's the same as the first question, different scale this time. It's going up in tens, and this hasn't printed off my printer very well. So the first one is -2 on the x-axis to -16 on the y-axis. There's -15, so -16 will be just below that. Then I'm going to go from -1 across to -9 down, 0 across, -8 down, 1 to -7, across 1, down 7, across 2, y 0, so it's just on the x-axis, cross 3 up to 19, which is about there, and across 4 up to 56, which is about there. So I haven't got a U shape now, I've got a sort of like an S that's been pulled apart. Again, me being left-handed, it's easier if I turn my page around. But watch, I'm not using a ruler, I'm just drawing my curve freehand, and it doesn't matter if it is, you know, not perfect. So that's what my graph looks like. That's the graph of y equals x cubed -8. And the last part that they ask you to do is to use your graph to solve the equation x cubed -8 equals 40. So they want to know where this curve is equal to 40. That will be where my line y equals 40, everywhere on that line equals 40, but where this curve equals 40 is where the line and the curve cross. So that's y equals 40. So you would read off your graph, and that would be 3.6. So to solve that equation, it's where the curve x cubed minus 8, which is the curve that we've drawn, equals 40, which is that line there, and where the 2 cross is 3.6. So your answer would be 3.6. So although those are right at the end, they don't take a huge amount of revision. Okay, you should be able to pick up quite a few marks there. That whole question is worth 6 marks.